Well, I'm doing a 444 video again. It's the afternoon of the third, but this is the video for the fourth. And somebody said they don't like me doing the videos the day before. Well, that's too bad. I mean, initially when I did this, I did it with the idea of being able to take some time off and do videos ahead of time and schedule them. But I've grown to like doing them ahead of time, and some days if I ever do plan a vacation where I'm not going to be able to get to the computer for a day or two, I'll be able to do more than one at a time. Anyway, be that as it may, the topic for today is about the event, and the title is The Event. Is it a cosmic download? And here's the blurb that I wrote. I've watched and listened to a number of videos that talk about the event that is supposed to change everything. The most recent being one in the Romanian language that I had to read the captions. It compared messages from Cobra and Tolec about the comet mothership named Ison. Cobra sees it as a comet. Tolec as a mothership disguised as a comet. Personally, I thought it was interesting, even though it raised questions. To me, it is not only possible for ETs to be involved in human evolution, it seems highly probable. Because of this viewpoint, I would welcome any help in leveling the playing field on Earth and raising human consciousness to a level where significant change becomes inevitable. My big question is, can some sort of cosmic download triggered by the alignment of the central sun, our sun, and Earth cause such an awakening, allowing us to see the interconnectedness of everything more clearly, such that we will be empowered? And I include the link to the Romanian video where it discusses it. And it is an hour and a half, and it is in Romanian, and you can choose your language for the closed captions. Anyway, this is just one subject that's been rolling through my mind as I do my busy Monday work, and in between the thoughts in between things, that's what it's been flowing. And I was sitting here actually in meditation, and then I get a phone call 5 minutes before I'm ready to begin the video, which I'm glad it came then rather than starting the video, because I had forgotten to take the phone off the hook. Anyway, there's an awful lot of questioning that I'm going through right now as I ponder potential scenarios. I mean, I look at what Swiss Indo and the plans that Mr. Sino plans to release funds that will change the world, but yet, in a sense, I know that releasing money by itself is not going to bring the transformation that I'm looking for. I mean, there has to be something at a much deeper level and a much higher level than simply throwing money at the situation. Money is not the solution. The solution is changing human consciousness, because as long as we have unhealed shadow elements within our consciousness, within our psyche, if you will, as long as our souls are sick from the experience of separation consciousness that has wreaked havoc on our earth, and to the point of almost destroying the habitability of the planet. I mean, we face some serious issues, and yet I know that changing consciousness can actually release a whole bunch of resolutions and solutions to the problems that we face. There's no insoluble problem, none. They don't exist. Just like there's no such thing as lack. It doesn't exist. All of this is consciousness. And if you just create a whole bunch of money and you put this money out there on people, that's not going to create the shift in consciousness by itself. It would potentially free people up to do what they love to do, but it could create a whole bunch of other problems, in that some of the things that are necessities to make society run and function wouldn't get done, because unless humans recognize that we have to serve one another, and that's not an option. Serving each other is not an option. We don't survive unless we serve one another. There's no viability and sustainability of any culture that does not meet the needs of all the individuals within the culture. And some of those needs mean that there are jobs that need to be done, at least in the interim, till we figure out how to accomplish those jobs with less human labor or perhaps no human labor at all. And someone keeps asking, or maybe it's more than one person has asked, will this plan of Swiss Indo's release free energy? Absolutely. And all sorts of medical breakthroughs that have been around for a long time, but suppressed by the pharmaceutical industry, the oil cartel, and all the other people that have tried to rule the world and control everything. I mean, these are issues that we have to deal with, and it's part of consciousness. It's part of human consciousness. We've got to get rid of this consciousness of thinking that my religion is better than your religion, my political party is better than your party, my country is better than your country, my this is better than your that. That competition attitude has to change. But how is it going to change? Without a major something to trigger a major shift in how we perceive reality. When we see ourselves as separate in a world of lack, struggling for our individual survival, we're going to behave in a certain way which is destructive, which is counterproductive to peace on earth, which is counterproductive to the kind of world that I've been envisioning for a long time, and many others as well. We have to get, when I say on the same page, I don't mean that we have to see everything exactly alike in every detail. That's impossible. We wouldn't be individuals if that were the case. And individuality is part of creation. We were created to be individual expressions of the Creator. Yet, when we see ourselves as competing for limited resources, limited whatever, we create hell on earth. We have our current environment to look at to prove the point. We've created hell on earth. We've created a system where everything is poisoned. We're poisoning our air, we're poisoning our water, we're poisoning the land, we're poisoning the plants, we're poisoning the animals, we're poisoning ourselves, we're poisoning everything. For what? To destroy ourselves? Do we have a death wish? And I'm wondering if this comet Ison, which I found the video fascinating. I mean, it was some interesting ideas I don't like. I mean, I wish to God when people made videos, instead of closed captioning them, I wish they would have voiceovers in the language that you choose, that you could choose your language and you could hear it in your own language. Because quite frankly, I get much more comprehension when I'm watching and listening, or simply listening rather than reading. I mean, reading to me is passé almost. I mean, I still read a lot, don't get me wrong. I used to read a lot more though, and I used to get a lot out of reading. But now I get much more out of listening to something. It just seems to sink in better. It's my thing, okay? It may not be anybody else's thing. It's my thing. And by the way, I'm just a commentator. I don't have all the answers, which is why I do these videos, because it helps me to bring things up and share some of my concerns, my questions, some of my insights that I get, and bounce them off of other people that choose to comment. Sometimes people piss me off with the way they respond. That's okay too. Is there something, though? Is there something, anything, that can get us to see how important it is that we cooperate with each other? Is there something that can get us to see, as a human family, that whatever affects one person affects everyone? That no one can be free if anyone isn't free? When are we going to get it through our head that the control system means that we have to let go of controlling anybody else. Now, the exception might be parents with little children. And there's some level of control that's required. And you're forsaking the child's well-being if you don't exercise and set safe boundaries for the child to learn. So, bearing that in mind, there is need for structure. Even in a perfect society, if a child was born not able to talk and having forgotten everything the way it's been, if that were still the way that children came into the world, there would still be need to be a structure for the child's well-being, actually, and that would be just it's evident. It's self-evident to me. Lots of things are self-evident to me, but I'm learning that some things that seem self-evident to me don't seem self-evident to everybody else, because some people, even people that claim to be enlightened and have a lot of knowledge about enlightenment and spirituality and stuff like, even they sometimes want to get on this control trip and tell other people what they can and can't do. And I have a strong resistance to being told what I can and can't do, especially when it's in the exercise of freedom of speech or press. That's really, really important to me, and I don't like anybody trying to censor me. So what is it going to take to trigger a change in our consciousness that allows us to at least work cooperatively together without the elements of trying to control one another, without the elements of trying to dictate a point of view or dictate what you must do, what you absolutely have to do? I mean, there's things in our consciousness as humans and behaviors that are in the way that we act as humans that have to change. What is it going to take? It's not money, folks. It's not money that's going to do that. It has to be some kind of an event that allows us to all of a sudden turn on the parts of ourselves that have been turned off, whether that's an activation of the DNA or what, but something that triggers an awakening within the human psyche. And it does it not just on an individual level, but on a collective level, so that we can have that collective aha moment where all of a sudden we see the necessity of loving one another, for example, and of treating each other with respect, and of actually listening to each other. It's not a matter of trying to prove the other person wrong. It's a matter of listening. But some things to me are self-evident wrong, and some things that I believe to others are self-evident wrong. I mean, some people are still trying to push their religion, their Christianity, or their Islamic faith, or their Hindu faith, or their Buddhism faith, or something like that. They're trying to make everybody believe that, or one of the worst ones is the veganism religion, where they try to make everybody see how wrong it is to eat meat. And I know I'm going to get a lot of criticism for that, and I don't care. I don't care. We're not all going to fit in the same mold, but we do need to see how to treat each other with respect, even when we don't see everything exactly the same, as long as we see the importance of recognizing that we are connected one to the other, that there's no such thing as separation. That's a delusion, that we can be separate and at war with ourselves and with our environment, and that's a good thing. Just give me a break. It's self-evident that it's destructive. Is destruction good? Personally, I don't think so. But destruction is what we've known. Everything dies and is born again. Everything. Again and again and again. It happens every fall and winter, where many of the plants die, and then they're regenerated come spring and into the summer. And it's a cycle of life. Anyway, I've rambled and rambled, but these are some of the things that have really raised the question. And I hope that there is an event, and I hope it's in 2014. I'm not going to predict any dates, because that's crazy. I've learned you can't do that. But I hope it happens soon, and I hope it wakes a lot of people up that think it can't happen soon, that think it's going to take generations yet, or even centuries yet before we can come around. I hope that we can level the playing field and start creating a world that works for everybody. And if it takes the comet Ison or some cosmic alignment to trigger this, so be it. If it takes extraterrestrial assistance, I welcome it. And you can or can't, you're you. But this is my point of view. This is my commentary for the 4th of February 2014. And I thank you for listening. Namaste.